There's an urge deep inside of us that is awakening a predator. When we were in our natural environment, being a predator is what helped us to arrive at this point in what we call the Gregorian year of 2022. As the 72 nations are summoning the demons in which empowers their political, government, and medical, economic systems, we can feel something inside of us. It is a compulsion to want to be angry, to rage, and you feel an urge to get it out. But you don't know how, because for ages we were forbidden to tap into our primal energies. Primal energies are not evil, wicked, or Satan when you are a master over yourself. This is the key to survival. If our ancestors would have walked up to lions, snakes, and bears with the mentality that a lot of us have been anchoring of love and light. There should be a oneness between me and you. No need for violence. Do you really think that the earth would be populated with enough human beings that the animal kingdom did not take over? And I know some of us have been told that in order to clear karma, don't eat meat and don't do, eat this or that because you're taking the karma in of that slain animal. I get that. But I also get the primal instincts to survive are locked in our DNA, and it's being unlocked for several reasons. But one reason is the Galactic New Year, July 26th, Sirius rising. We got an activation. And right after that, we entered into a new galactic year as Sirius was rising. This began July 4th, which was the day before they started CERN, to open more portals to aggravate dark matter, because that's what happens when you mess with sacred galactic energy. So with these activations, on top of Betelgeuse performing exorcisms, purging the infection of the mind virus known as Wedigo, we are also experiencing that. I am still working through proper ways to channel these primal energies inside of me that I was brainwashed to banish, rebuke, and ignore. It is dangerous to ignore your shadow self. It is dangerous to ignore your demons. And it is dangerous to continue to go on in this world as if this is the same world that you always existed in. One thing that the Black and brown community is lacking is discipline and self-mastery. And because a lot of us have been tapping into information, whether it is information of using the lesser key of Solomon, it could be different hermetic teachings, it could be as we're Kabbalah, the tree of death, Doth. As we are going through all of this, some of us have picked up more energy than we can handle. So there are some who are too afraid to do anything and are trying to exist in middle ground between 3D and 5D consciousness, and that space is hell. That is the dimension of hell, in that space where you can't make a decision and actually cross over. But there are others who cross over and they delve deep into many different occult and metaphysical practices, and they were not ready, because if you can't regulate your emotions, you might want to reconsider some of the occult metaphysical practices that you see other people doing. It may not be for you, and it may not be for you right now. But what the urge and the thing that's in the unconscious collective that's churning that is we're being called to return to our natural state of being. And because we became so disharmonious, we couldn't be trusted to go out and hunt. And it's not allowed to have certain ceremonies done to give an honor to that animal. That would be considered voodoo. That would be considered, something that's bad, wicked, and evil, or connected to Satan. When actually, it's just a natural state of being. When we were colonized and our land was raped and pillaged, and we was taken away from our language, our food, our ways, our mythologies, our elders. We can't even sit and talk with our elders. Most of us don't have an elder to even talk to about the things that really matter the most, that you have learned in your awakening. As the Biblios Helios says, they will separate mother from daughter, father from son, and we will even go to war with one another. That's happening. And it's increasing. And it may not be happening on a full-blown level, but you can see tension between you, children, grandchildren, parents, and grandparents that you didn't notice before. This is why. They are attempting to reverse engineer the awakening. And the DNA that they categorize as junk, not too different than how they categorize darker skinned people on every continent as being inferior, trash, junk, and less important. The part of our brain we do not use, the 95% of subconscious, unconscious that actually projects into our reality and controls what happens in our life. All of this is uncharted territory for most people. All of that happening. If you're wondering, what Cancer in the Oracle meant by that? I heard the channel message she gave, but I don't know how that applies to me. I gave you several things that you can watch for to help you to be able to chart your path from this point. But leading up to the 8/8 Lioness gate portal of 2022, the instincts and the abilities to move faster, be stronger, taste things you've never tasted before in foods you've been eating, hear things no one else can hear, see things no one else sees, feel things that no one else feels, and synesthesia, where you could be painting a picture and you feel like you can smell the painting, or you're listening to music and you feel like you can taste the song. This is happening as we are being activated. We are meta-humans. We are starseeds. We are galactic consciousness that descended and devolved into a body to have this human experience. If you happen to be listening to this, it is 4:40, August 6th, just look up Saturday. If you're listening to this, this is a divine appointment. Listen to those urges. Acknowledge your anger, your rage, your pain, your grief, and your sadness. Do not ignore it. I was given this message today, and I tried to ignore it, and I cannot. I actually attempted to have a day where I didn't record a Akashic download, and we see how that went, because it is imminent, and because we can't hunt And many of the things that we used to do, we can no longer do. That energy is displaced and is leaking out of us in our day-to-day conversations, business interactions, and our relationships with others, but first our relationship with ourselves. So you want to make sure that you're not becoming the victimizer, the oppressor, and the abuser of your own soul. Now, Queen Nandi, she is the mother of Shaka Zulu, and she brings intuition. Allah is what you would consider to be Gaia. She is Mother Earth personified. And there are two earths right now. Allah represents grief. The way to true endarkment, not enlightenment, endarkment. The way to true endarkment, to go into the negrito, personal vicious shadows, to enter into the darkness which creates light. There is a light that exists there that many of us have yet to experience. And it is the light that is birthed from darkness because of your conscious awareness that will allow us to process the grief of what we are experiencing. Life moves so fast. For many of us, we don't feel that we have time or space to grieve anything. And we think that a few tears at a funeral or a breakup or a divorce or whatever, a lot of times we think that a few days spent processing that is enough. And if there were times as a child that you were grieving but you were not allowed to feel your feelings, you were told that you need to stop that with trying to take family pictures. You're messing up our pictures. Stop that. Boys don't do that. Stop being a punk. Don't quit crying. Weak people cry. All of those things, that's also bubbling to the surface. It's being drawn out. The salve that I bring is the medicine of the Dark Mother. She is very protective, very wise, and very powerful. Allah showing up made me feel the grief that's in the collective of those awakening in a way I hadn't felt it before. So if this resonates with you, you can follow the links and sign up and participate with us. We are not going to bring our false selves. We're going to bring our true selves together, and we're going to process this shit. Because with the codes and the activations we are receiving, if you have not learned to regulate your emotions, it's going to be difficult for you as we continue deeper into the underworld. The 9 years, according to the Mayan calendar, of underworld energy.